Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We will get started here in about 2 minutes. This is also being done in person as well as on Zoom. So we'll give a few more minutes for people to join us on the Zoom press conference portion as we get Breanna Stewart and Talisa Ria ready to go.
Am I supposed to be in a certain chair? Whatever I want. You could be number one. This is your special weekend.
All right, once again, thank you for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get started. We'll open things up with quick words from General Manager Talisa Ria.
Thank you so much for coming out. I think this is my first in-person press conference. So happy you guys could all be here. Happy especially to be here with Stewie. I think another first for the organization. Got little Ruby in the house tonight or today. Really excited to have Ruby and Marta here as well. But going into free agency, obviously keeping Stewie, who we feel like is the best player in the world here in Seattle, and continuing to build with her as the future of this franchise was a top priority. Her accolades and everything on the court, speak for itself. I think what's been really cool is to see just the growth off the court as well and her impact here in Seattle, the city, the fans, and also now with her family, and really excited to have her and her family continue with us in Seattle, and that will continue to be a priority for us. So really excited to be here today, really excited to be here sitting alongside this one, and thank you all for coming out. And I will pass it over to Noe.
Yep, Noel Quinn, our head coach, is joining us from Japan, where it is 3:30 in the morning. She is dedicated to being here today, and will give a few thoughts from her perspective on re-signing Breanna Stewart.
Hey, good morning, T. Good morning, Stu.
Hey.
Hi. Sorry if my internet connection isn't the greatest, but yeah, wouldn't miss this for the world. Obviously, Stewie is the best player in the world. She elevates everybody around her. When your best player is your hardest worker, that means everyone else needs to fall in line. And she sets the tone for us for an organization, not only what she does on the floor, but off the court as well. She values being an ultimate teammate, and most importantly, just wants to win. So I'm super excited to have her back in the fold. She's gonna be back bigger and stronger than ever, and just really happy to be a part of her journey, and just appreciative of everything that she is and what she stands for.
Thank you, Coach Quinn. And now we'll turn it over to Breanna Stewart to give a few thoughts on rejoining the Storm.
Yeah, first off, I want to say, obviously, thank you to Lisa and Noe. Noe, you're a trooper for being up this late right now. But I'm definitely happy to be back with the Storm. Excited for our plans for the future. Excited to kind of have my family here in Seattle, have Ruby growing up a little bit and maybe more aware of what's happening this season while she comes to the games. But Seattle has been my home. Seattle is where my family has been made. Obviously this franchise is my family. This organization is my family. And everyone that's a part of Storm basketball just really means the world to me. I'm excited for what we're going to continue to do. I actually just saw Climate Pledge for the first time. And to be able to walk through there and see the differences between Key and where it was and where it is exciting. And, to be able to walk on the court a little bit, to go in the locker room, just makes me even more excited and ready to get on the court and be back with Seattle. I think Seattle is one of the best teams in the WNBA, obviously, but one of the best organizations who are continuing to kind of uplift women and bring the WNBA to where it needs to be. So I'm excited to be a part of it and happy to be here.
Thank you, Stewie. We appreciate it. Now we'll open it up for questions. We'll start with some questions from our in-person media. If you have a question, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll call on you. If you could say your name and your outlet, we would appreciate it for those people watching on the Zoom. Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Free agency, to be honest, really reminded me of when I was being recruited in high school. And I think that, from what I've heard, free agency hasn't always been like that in the WNBA. You don't always have meetings and go see places and things like that. But it was just an opportunity for me to kind of see what other organizations are doing, what other franchises are doing, and then compare it back to Seattle and also see how we can be better. How can we continue to be better? I think that the fact that I was a free agent, an unrestricted free agent, like you want to like dip your toe in the water and just see how it feels and experience things. And also I felt like I wouldn't be doing my best or doing my part in the WNBA if I didn't kind of see the other side of things as well. So to be able to see something new, like New York, and then to know where home is like Seattle and compare the two, it's just an interesting opportunity, and happy to be back in Seattle. Ruby agrees.
Go ahead, Chris.
With that point off of that, not that you didn't appreciate this place as your home, but did you find yourself even appreciating the store of the city and the fans even more after this?
Absolutely. I think that, just the amount of fan interaction during free agency. Marta was getting a lot of comments, tweets, as was I. And just knowing that the city of Seattle is really so excited to have us be back in Seattle Center and like in the heart of Seattle playing. And know that, they can't wait for me to be out there as well.
Jeff, go ahead, Jeff.
What was the major deciding factors on doing the 1 year deal?
For me, the biggest thing with the 1 year deal was in regards to prioritization. It's something that, if I'm quite honest, I'm not happiest about in our CBA, because it's just really limiting what professional women's basketball players can do in their off season and their ability to make money overseas. So with a 1 year deal, I have a little bit more flexibility in technically what I can do in 2023 as we try and figure out this prioritization.
I talked to Stewart about this a little bit with like the free agency, and I think WNBA is popular and continues to grow. It's like there's so much out there. There's like I said, artists getting hit up a bunch. And like, how does that? I guess how do you look back? Because on the one hand, it's showing that WNBA is growing to the point that it is talking about, but then stuff might be said that maybe not necessarily true.
I think it's the conversation that needs to be had. If you're talking about, so many people seem to be more interested in our free agency this year in the WNBA, and so many people were like, oh, well, this Supermax isn't enough and this and that, whereas 2 years ago, the Supermax was like half. So if this isn't enough, then imagine what we had for however many years in our old CBA. So I think it's, continuing to have those conversations that are just showing that more people are investing in women and women's professional sports.
Okay, go ahead, Nico.
All right. Yeah.
Lisa obviously mentioned how many new people joined the team at the end of last season. I would say there's actually
I'm really excited for Ruby to be a part of this storm for the entire season, to really see it from start to finish. I don't think she really understood what was happening. She definitely hated the headphones last season, and I don't think she's gonna like them still. But I think that she'll be able to kind of enjoy the experience some more. She really seems to like the WNBA basketball. I think might be because it's orange and it's a bright color. But Marta and I have been talking that she possibly might be walking by the time games start, but she's definitely going to be crawling if she's not walking. So she'll be all over the place.
Go ahead, Alyssa.
I think it's, just the next evolution in my career is continuing to be that leader, to be that voice, to be the person to kind of, say the good, bad, or the ugly as far as what the WNBA needs, and just continue to kind of not settle for anything less. I think that, as my career is going, and this is my 7th year in the WNBA, which seems pretty crazy, but I want to continue to make sure that this league is better for the ones that are coming after me. I still hope I'm going to be playing for a long time, but just want to continue to kind of uplift this league and, not feel like we have to dance around or not talk about certain topics that are obviously needing to be talked about.
Okay, Chris, go ahead. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, we talked all the time, and really feel like we've been in communication, like, over these past 7 years that Stewie has been here, and we weren't necessarily relying on a couple of weeks of a free agency period to really be the selling point and to be what Stewie was basing her decision off of. So really just trusting the relationship that we've built, and the Storm and really the city of Seattle have built with Stewie, and knowing how valuable that is, and just the day-to-day and everything that we've done to get us to this point. And so relying on that a lot as the foundation of our relationship going into free agency. And then, of course, conversations and having Stewie really involved with everything that we're doing. She is the franchise player, and we're trying to compete for championships. So we had her, every step of the way. So just really grateful for that relationship that we've been able to build. And it extends way beyond just me. It's with Noelle and the coaching staff. It's with the entire organization and the city of Seattle. So we really appreciate that support.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead.
So along the line, is there any chance you were going to be get that on record? And the backup plan, what if that?
We didn't have one.
No, there wasn't a chance that I was going to go anywhere else, but Seattle. Exactly.
Okay.
Just making things a little spicy.
Thanks.
It's gotta be a great feeling to have her involved in everything now, with Sue back and everything. But what are your thoughts on having her next last season?
Sorry, Jeff, I couldn't hear the question. Can you repeat it for me?
Here, Chris, let me give you this mic here real quick.
Coach, I wanted to keep you awake. I'm just curious what your thoughts are on having her back with Sue in the new building, considering the way that last season ended without her and knowing how important a piece she is of the team.
I mean, Stewie's body of work speaks for itself. But to be back in the city for the summer, I think the fans are excited about it. Our players are excited about it. Our organization is excited about being back in Climate Pledge. Sue's last, well, I don't want to say last, but Sue's back with us. We felt very confident in who we signed and who we surrounded our players with, especially Sue, Jewel, and Stewie. And she's a franchise player. I talked about this before, a transcending player, a player that comes about once every blue moon. Stewie is so special. And with her on the roster, you're always in the mix to compete for a championship. So it's our responsibility as a coaching staff and an organization to make sure we build our team strong and build a team that is vying for a championship every single year. And that's what we went into free agency doing. But again, having Breanna just around, it elevates everyone. It elevates, us as an organization to be on top of our game. It elevates her teammates. It elevates our staff, elevates everybody. And it is special to really have her. And I'm glad. I mean, I was in talks with her. I was on the phone with her often. I knew she wasn't gonna go anywhere, but I'm just glad that it's official today.
All right, let's open it up to some questions from our Zoom audience. Michelle Vopel, why don't you start us off? Go ahead, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you. Breanna, you talked about prioritization, and I think, that's something we've been thinking for a while is going to come. And I'm just wondering how big a factor do you think that's going to have on a player like yourself who is so valuable overseas and here, and just how you're sort of sorting through that issue. I know it'll be coming, relatively soon.
Yeah, prioritization is like the biggest topic of conversation, I would say, for me in the WNBA, especially in the next couple of years, because it's to be able to play overseas in UMMC, Katerinburg, where basketball is very valued. We're treated really, really well. Obviously, able to make a lot of money. So it's just hard for me because, with the prioritization, you're cutting off one of my sources of income and not substituting it. So I think that, that's something that needs to kind of be figured out. Luckily, I don't think until 2024 is when things really come into play as far as being potentially suspended for the season. So to be honest, I don't know. I don't have a great answer for what's going to happen, but I think that it's going to affect a lot more players in the WNBA than people think right now.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Michelle. Howard Megdal, go ahead, Howard.
Hey, Stewie, thanks for the time as always. I just two parts to it then. Just want to make sure that we have a sense of what you're saying out of this. When you say there was never a chance that you were going to go anywhere this past offseason, you signed a 1-year deal and you're talking about it in terms of prioritization. Are you saying here today that you're committed to Seattle for the long term, or is there a chance you might go to a different WNBA team next season?
I mean, I thank you for the question, but I'm committed to Seattle for this season, and I think that that's going to be the biggest priority. Is we're going to focus on what happens right now and not really think about what's going to come in the future. I think that, as you guys can see in free agency, we are definitely in win now mode, and we want to, make sure that we're contending for another championship, as well as appreciating as much time as we have on the court with Sue.
And then just related to that, you spoke about prioritization coming up. You obviously can write your own ticket wherever you want to play, given the stature you have as a player. Is your future in the WNBA something that is under discussion in your mind after the 1 year that you've signed?
In an ideal world, I would like to be able to play in the WNBA and overseas as much as possible, because I think that, I have a reach in both communities. in the European game, in the EuroLeague game, in the WNBA. I think that with everything to come with Puma, with signature shoes coming out, it's a really difficult situation, but I don't think, not playing in the WNBA is a possibility.
Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Howard. Jackie Powell, go ahead, Jackie.
Thanks so much, Stewie, Noel, and GM Talisa Ray. I appreciate the time. So for Stewie, first one for you. I want to get your read on maybe the urgency and the hunger. They're two separate things that the 2022 Storm group has to win a championship in 2022. Amid the news of potentially it being Sue's last year and it being official that it will be Breanna January's last season.
Yeah, I think that, our approach going into every season is obviously we want to win. And I think in my first 2 years in Seattle, it was a little bit of a bumpy road, a little bit up and down, like a 500 season record, which is not normal. But I think that, you can see across majority of the teams in the WNBA, they're in win now mode, and that's Seattle, that's Phoenix, that's Minnesota. I feel like it's always majority of the West teams that are harder to kind of compete against, even though we don't even have conferences anymore. But it's really difficult. And I talk to Marta about it all the time. Like, Talisa has a really hard job because it's like, you want to focus on winning right now and being a contender, but then you have to think a little bit about the future. And I think as a GM, it's really difficult to do both.
Absolutely. And a question for both the GM and head coach. How do you think that this roster is better structured for this upcoming season to win a championship than it was in 2021?
Yeah, I can start. I think, we look back at last year, felt like we were just a couple pieces away. And a big priority for us was improving on the defensive end and having a little bit more of a physicality and grit about us at the guard position and the post group. We really feel like we've added a lot in that area with adding Breanna and adding Gabby Williams will really help complement the other pieces that we have on our roster. So that was a big priority for us. And we felt like offensively, although we didn't quite get into our efficient, fluid style of offense a lot, we still had the pieces that were there offensively. And we felt like if we could really improve on the defensive side of the ball, maybe a little bit with rebounding and being able to get easier shots for us, we would be in a much better spot. And also, I think the leadership and the vocal presence that Breanna January brings at the point guard spot with our second unit is also going to be really valuable. So I think we've added a few pieces that we feel like will help elevate us. But for us, our number one priority was trying to keep our core group together and feel like if we're healthy and playing at a high level, we're able to compete for a championship. And then adding in those extra pieces, we feel like, we're excited to come into this season with the group that we have.
And coach, or if she's awake.
I'm here.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I would agree with Talisa. We were just missing that dog mentality. Talisa talked about grit, and I think on the defensive end, especially when you add Breanna January, when you add a Gabby Williams, it gets Stewie, Jewel, Sue back into their normal roles. Jewel did an amazing job this year with defending elite offensive scorers. Now you have those two in the mix to kind of alleviate that. Now Jewel is back into her normal to her normal groove. And just thinking about defense and rebounding, honestly, just surrounding our squad with that and improving in that area. Offensively, you guys understand how we play, and those pieces complement us on the offensive end as well. So going into free agency, understanding, we can't play Stewie 40 minutes a game. And so those pieces are super important as we look to add and continue to grow as a team.
Thank you all so much.
Thanks, Jackie. And we only have about 5 minutes left, so we're going to try to go through the rest of these as quick as we can. Let's start with Terrell Thomas. Terrell, go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is for Stewie. Stewie, I actually had an opportunity a few days ago to speak with you about your signature shoe that you just gave mention to. I know you said you were waiting for Tuesday to kind of get some final looks and make some decisions. I just wanted to follow up on that to kind of see what your thoughts were on the shoe and if you have any more details as far as release dates or color schemes or anything of that nature.
Yeah, so I was able to see some of my signature shoes. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say this or not, but they're gonna release. So everything is really delayed because of COVID and because of production delays, and Puma's like headquarters is overseas. But the first shoe is gonna hopefully release in August. And like each shoe has its own significant like story behind it. So there's gonna be 4 shoes, 4 colorways, and then some team shoes coming out. And then we have to kind of shift focus to the Stewie too.
Thank you very much. I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Thanks, Terrell. And let's go to Taylor Short. Taylor, go ahead.
Hi, Stewie. My name's Taylor Short. I'm with All Things WNBA. And I just have one question. What has it been like to play with Sue Bird?
To play with Sue Bird has obviously been an honor. It's been one of the greatest highlights of my basketball career, from high school, college, and now to step foot on the court with the best point guard to play. When I was in college, I had an opportunity to kind of play with her a little bit with USA Basketball, but now coming to Seattle to just also create a relationship, a friendship. She's someone that I obviously look up to and respect a lot, and very happy that she'll be coming back for another season. I don't think either one of us or Seattle or the organization was ready to say goodbye just yet.
Thank you.
Thanks, Taylor. And we'll go. Sorry, Taylor, we got to go do a couple more. We only have about 4 minutes left. Sean Schultz, go ahead, Sean.
Hi, Stewie. I was just wondering, you mentioned Ruby earlier. Do you think she's going to wear a Stewie jersey or a Sue Bird jersey?
To be honest, Ruby needs like the entire collection of the entire squad. We were looking online, and they don't have like infant jerseys, which I think we'll kind of figure that out and find some. But for the first game, maybe she'll wear a Sue jersey.
Thanks, Sean. Let's go to Nick Rose. Nick, go ahead.
Hi, Stewie. As a Seattle native myself, just wanted to acknowledge just how much you've brought to the city, especially for girls in the younger age. Just your arrival in 2016 has elevated just the love, as you know, just for as Seattle sports fans. Getting to play in the new arena, I saw you in the 2018 finals at the Key. Just as run down as the arena was at the time, and just the elevation of fans that you guys had there and the support mainly for you in that incredible season. What's it going to mean to play at Climate Pledge Arena? As we've seen, the Kraken have done so well there with fan support, and you guys are just going to, it feels like you guys could sell out every night with the presence you bring coming back.
I can't wait to play at Climate Pledge. Obviously understanding that the arena has been under renovation for a while, and having to be patient with those type of things, and really appreciating Everett for hosting us. But Seattle is our home, and obviously is the heart of the sports city that we have here, and can't wait to kind of be back. And I was actually talking about this yesterday with Crystal Langhorne, was just like remembering the atmosphere in 2018 when it was Game 5 against Phoenix, or Game 1 and Game 2 in the finals against DC. Like, I've never played in an arena where it was that loud, and hoping that right from the start, right once we get back into Climate Pledge, we're going to just pick up right where we left off.
We're excited to have you guys there.
Thanks, Nick. We got time for 2 more questions. We'll go to Christos. Christos, go ahead, and then we'll wrap up with Jacob.
Hello, Stewie. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Congratulations on the new contract, first of all. For you to be the leader, to be one of the faces of that franchise, what it means, how big responsibilities to help the team to fight for another championship next season?
I think the biggest responsibility is just continuing to build that chemistry and that camaraderie. Fortunately, a lot of us are still have been in Seattle before, but for the people who haven't been a part of our franchise and organization, we like to think that we move in a special way on and off the court, and not taking that for granted, and really appreciating one another. And I think that, it's just going to continue to be great for our organization, be great for the city, of obviously what we can do on the court, but also off the court this season, especially now being back in Seattle full-time while we play.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Christos. And Jacob Serrano, you can wrap us up today.
Hey, Stu, I just want to say congratulations on the deal, first of all. I wanted to know, you said you were honored, obviously, to play with Sue Bird. And coming back this season, do you think did that have any effect into returning with the team this year? And do you get a sense of optimism for both of you guys that you guys can return a championship back to Seattle?
Sue coming back to play obviously just made things even more worthwhile. I think that when I talk about Sue and her returning for another season, it makes me think about last season and like the decisions that myself, my wife were trying to make about, can I play? Can I not play? Is Sue going to be done? Is she not going to be done? So just really grateful to have another opportunity to step on the court with her, because, there was moments after last season where I didn't know if we were going to have another moment or if she was going to be done. But yeah, I think that, through the injuries I have, I definitely appreciate every opportunity I have on the court, but also appreciate every opportunity I have with Sue on the court. And you guys already know Jewel as well.
All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us today. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Breanna, for your time, Talisa, and as Coach Quinn as well. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk to you all later.